Hello, my friends. Now let's keep working on our NJSLA practice question number 22, part B. Let's quickly recall part A. It's given a bigger cylinder with a smaller cylinder inside, and part A is talking about how to find the volume of your toilet paper. Okay, you have a bigger cylinder and inside a small cylinder, which is a hole inside. Now you need to find out the value of the toilet paper. And we found out that we're going to use the bigger cylinder, subtract the value of the smaller cylinder, then which is part A. Now for part B, the question asks you, what is the domain of the value? So the volume basically here is talking about the volume of the toilet paper. And what's the domain? Think about it. When we talk about a domain and the range, we talk about, do you remember my ugly function machine at the beginning of school year, which I did? Its function is like a machine, okay? Where you have input and you have output. If I put milk in, I get ice cream out. And that is my function machine, what the function works, okay? If I put egg in, I can get yogurt out, maybe. So input we talk about is X. And the output, of course, is Y. And remember, basically right now we're going to use f of X instead of Y here. Now, related to X is domain. The domain is talking about what is the possible value for X here. And related to Y, it's range. So range is talking about according to your input X, what could be the possible range, could be the possible value of Y. Then it's called range. In this case, let's go back to see our question number 22, part B. It's talking about what is the domain of the value, which means we found out the function here. Domain basically talking about X, but someone said, well, there is no X. Now look at the notation here. The value of R, which the function name is V, focus on the variable of R, as the same as function name is F, focus on variable of X. In that case, your variable is R, is inside the parentheses. Now the domain here basically just asking you, what are the possible value for R here? But the R here is not your radius, which is just the variable. Or you can, if you want to think about it, this is the radius, that's fine. For second part B, it makes sense because it says the inner part, if the radius for the small cylinder, for the hole, which is 3, is greater or equal to 3. Now, what will be your possible R from here to this edge? Okay, now let me repeat that. The domain here for R, which is just asking you, what is the possible value from here to here? Okay, now let's go back to observe our graphing. It's given if R is greater or equal to 3. Let's see, if R is 3 here, if it's equal 3, the inner space radius could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can it be 10? If it's 10, which means the bigger cylinder disappeared because it's all space. There is no bigger cylinder. That one doesn't exist. Therefore, it must be less than 10. And it could be 3 because if this is 3, this r equals 3, I can start with 3 right here. Okay, so part C, which is definitely your good choice. Now let's see why it's not A. You cannot say it's greater than or equal to 3, all greater than. What about 100? And even the bigger one doesn't have the radius as 100. Okay, now what about B? Part B, if your R equal 10, then which means the space between the smaller one and the bigger one, which is the radius is 10, then there's no bigger cylinder exist. Just like, think about this. If my hole is as big as the toilet paper roll, and the paper disappeared because it's all whole, there's nothing there, right? Nothing will exist. So cannot be 10. Now, how about the last one? Because the last one, I would really think about it, but here it says must be an integer. In that case, we cannot guarantee between 3 and 9 all are integer. Think about it. If this is 3, if this is 9, now what about 3.1, 3.2, and what about 8.7? What about 5.4? Right? They are not integer, but they are included in this form because that cannot guarantee all are integer. Therefore, C is the better choice here. Okay, this is all about question number 22, part B.